Hi again, it's me making another miniature creation, another one from Barbados. This is the place that we rent every year. We've been going for quite a while. It's right on the ocean. The ocean would be right there, pretty much. We have to walk down a little path and get to the water. So this is scale is about, I think, 137, which doesn't really make, it's not really that important to know that. The scales I usually work in are 112, 124. They're pretty easy to convert because you do an inch to a foot or a half an inch to a foot. Everything with this one I have to use a calculator for because I cannot divide by 37. So there's a lot more math involved in this, but it's the same principle. And the reason I wanted to make it small was, one, I want to transport it to Barbados, so it has to be able to pack. I have to be able to pack it. And I wanted to do the outside of this one as opposed to the inside. There's a little bit of inside, but I really wanted to do the outside, and I had to keep it fairly small. So this is our front gate. Sam has to carry all his beer up this flight of stairs until we get to our upper deck. Our upper deck is where we spend most of our time. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the materials I used. So there's no inside in this dwelling. Well, except for this. It's all outdoor stuff, outer. It is all made of a material called foam board. Now, I probably used white for this project, but this example is black. I build the structure first out of foam board, and then I would have used the structure but covered it in wood. And for the wood, I would have used a lot of stir sticks, such as this. On this particular one, because it's clapboard or siding or whatever you want to call it. I usually use wood for windows and window frames, but these windows were so small that I used my Cricut cutting machine. I made the windows, made the shape of the windows. I knew what they were from all the reference photos that I had taken. I cut them out of cardstock on my Cricut, and I think I'm guessing about 3 layers to each window, and it gives you the impression of wood. Trying to make them out of wood with my skills was just going to be impossible. It's just way too small. So there's a lot of things that you can do on a small scale out of paper and cardstock that you can't do on a larger 112 building because it looks like paper. It just isn't strong enough. When you get down to these really tiny ones, you can get away with using a lot more paper, but you also have to use different materials for different things. It's hard to get fabric small enough so that it works. Like, I had to really struggle to find the right kind of thickness to make those towels out of, because any kind of toweling is just, way too thick. So you have to think about, the hammock is all twisted. That's what happened to me last year when I got on the hammock. I fell right out of it. I didn't tell anybody. I just told everybody, I guess. But anyway, I need to straighten that up a little bit. These little people, I had to buy the little people. They are about, I don't know, an inch and a half high, I guess. But I did change all their clothes, so they were not colored at all, actually, but whatever they had on, I kind of made them look beachy-ish. These little chairs are only about half an inch high, and the chairs and the trellis work is all made out of a really fine florist wire that I individually glued. I don't even know what I was thinking. I glued all of that wire on piece by piece, and you could only do 1 or 2 pieces at a time. I think I worked in panels because you had to let them dry before you could go back, and it was a nightmare. But anyway, that was the story of the lattice work and those little chairs. I must have been nuts. That might be fabric. I can't possibly have done that out of wire. It must be fabric. I'm gonna say it's fabric. The glass table top was made out of a little piece of plastic. The little plants. There's a lot more plants in this one. I think this is one of your plants, Janine. There's a lot more plants. any place that sells artificial flowers or plants, you just have to consider the size. So you have to look for things that are a smaller scale, otherwise they just don't look right. However, in Barbados, all the leaves of things are gigantic, so it gives you a little bit more room to play because plants they grow so beautifully down there. But yeah, these are plastic. This one's cloth. I mean, people make them out of clay. I didn't make them out of clay in this instance, but you can. If you can get down and look in here, Janine, can you see the stonework? This I would have made. Sometimes you can take, not sometimes, anytime you want, you can take the paper off of your foam board by going like this. And that gives you a surface. If I were more careful, I could get it off cleaner. But that gives you a surface that you can indent in. So I would have made the floor out of foam board, indented the stones into it, and then painted it, treated it, given it a little aging with the chalk dust and the dry brush, and put a glossy finish on it because those tiles are glossy. Again, I would have figured that out from my reference photos. The stones on the inside are simply, again, get them at the craft store, get them in your driveway. You just have to consider the scale so that they have to be small enough to look like they're realistically. But I mean, rocks come in all sizes, don't they? So does it really matter? If we swivel this around, we can see that this is my light box. Okay, turn it right around for you. This is my light box. On their house, this is a fuse box or whatever. Maybe not fuse, but the hydro box, I guess, right? So that's what this is. So I just incorporated it on the side of the house, and that's our light system and our.
So what is it?
It's the light system. So this is what it looked like before. So I painted it so that it looks like their hydro box, which is there on their wall. And that also gave me the lights.
Cool.
To put around the house. I'll swing it around to the front porch again so you can see the lights there. So that gave me those lights. So another thing you'll notice on this one, remember in other buildings that I've done, I've made the shutters because they'd be a bigger size. I'd make the shutters out of wood. Well, this one is all paper and ink and paint or colored pencil, and it only looks real because it's small. If I were doing that on a 1/12 scale building, it would look like a drawing. But it's just the way that your eye reads it, because it's tiny, I can get away with drawing it on. The shutter or the awnings are made of these little stir-sticky things. What else have we got to talk about on this one? We can put the roof back on, and I'll talk a little bit about that. It also has a light fixture in it that I just broke. Okay, well, never mind. And those lights are broken.
We saw a flash.
Yeah, those lights are now broken. This is interesting. I wanted to make the roof look like corrugated metal. This is made out of, oh, there's a beer label. This is just shelf liner. So you know that stuff that you get?
I have some of that.
You have some of that. Well, if you ever need to make a roof in the scale of 1/37, you will be all set. So once you paint it and apply it, it looks just like a metal roof. Now, in my mind and in the photos, I would bet money that this roof was black. So it must have just been the lighting of the day that I took the pictures, but somebody came in that had been there, and she said, my daughter-in-law, she said, isn't that roof metal? Tin? I said, I think it's black. I think it's metal. So I messaged our host, and she said, yeah, no, it's metal. So I had to repaint the roof. That's fine. It's now quite accurate. So that is that house. This is all just pickets made of, again, of the stir sticks. Cut and made to fit. These little railings are a nightmare. They are, the toothpicks that you get, plastic toothpicks that are shaped.
Mm-hmm.
That's what those are. Not fun to put in. A lot of that stuff you have to do. I'll use a tweezer, and you have to do one at a time, because you can't. You've got one in, but as soon as you try to put the one beside it, you knock the first one over. So you put one in, and then you just let it go and do something else. And that's why sometimes people will say to me, why don't you do more videos of the process? But the process is really boring. Like really boring, because you're only doing one tiny little thing at a time when you have to leave it, let it dry and go and do something else. So it's not the most fun process to watch. And I think that's about it for this house. Maybe I'll give it one more turn.
You've aged or got moss and stuff
The moss,
there.
yes, the moss again is the kind of moss that you get at wherever you buy these artificial plant. Well, not all the time, but any craft store, they'll have a little bag of moss. It usually comes in a couple of different colors, so you'll get a package and it'll have brown and green. And then I just, you're going to put it where moss grows. It's probably not going to be stuck in the water. It's going to be in the corners and whatnot. And again, age it with eyeshadow or chalk dust, dry brush. A good way, and I didn't do it on this roof because this house is...
I don't think you mentioned the eyeshadow and chalk dust in this video.
No, I did not. I mentioned that chalk dust in a different video. You're right, Janine. So the way that I age things is to take a piece of charcoal. Well, you could probably use charcoal. Chalk pastels, eyeshadow, and you make a dust out of it on a little palette. You use a very dry brush, and you just brush into all the corners, all the places where it would naturally get sort of dark and aged looking. This house is in good shape. It's not, the roof is not perfect again. But if you had a building, like an abandoned building or an older building where the roof was metal, but it was rusty,
Yeah,
really-
murder scene type place.
one really neat technique is to use, you also want to incorporate a little bit of maybe turquoise and greeny paint with this technique, but you very lightly apply that in spots, and then you use cinnamon, some white glue and a little bit of cinnamon, and cinnamon creates a very, very realistic looking rust. I think that's about it for this one. Like I said, there's no inside. I did leave it, I left it possible. This is just a piece of paper. This is empty. I left it so that there's a possibility that I might someday do the inside floor. I doubt it. This is a neat floor too. This is our bedroom. Oh. Did the lights come on? No, the lights didn't come on. I don't know what I did to the lights. So this is the top floor bedroom. This is a great place to have happy hour. I have happy hour up there a lot. This second floor is the living room, kitchen, bathroom, stairs going upstairs. And that's doable, but again, it's such a small scale that it really does make it a lot harder. There are artists that work really small all the time. I'm not one of them. So that's about all I can do.
And you're giving this to these people?
Yes, this is going to be a gift to Debbie and Brian, as long as I can get it packed and get it there in one piece. All right, see you later, guys.